The Russian geography is maybe the hardest one to be understood in the entire world history. Studying on the Russian history actually become a messy situation even for the philosophers and historians born in Russia. Though all the incomprehensibles, the significance of the Russian history is undebatable in terms of world and especially the European history, with huge forests, immense rivers and desolate steppes. Russian land witnessed the most vital and sometimes the most tragic events of human history. It is not possible to discuss the progress of the states founded on the Russian soul as a unit. These huge lands has been controlled by different managements for hundreds of years, both in a cultural and socio-economic way. However, like every historical process, it is possible to track and discover the origin of this progress. Perhaps the most interesting part of the Russian history is its origin. In Russia, in the 9th century, the dynasty gaining a power over the people and ruling them for 800 years is not even a Slavic dynasty. Russia had been ruled for 800 years by a family coming from another land that both culturally and hereditarily different from their own Slavic people. Well, how did this happen exactly? To understand this, we need to find out the situation in Russia at the beginning of the 9th century and the environment among the Slavic people living in Russia, divided into different clans. Slavic people live in a wide area stretching out from Novgorod to the southern coasts of today's Ukraine. The clans that brought about this nation traded with nearby states, and from time to time they fought with each other. Neither Slavic clan completely overtopped one another in a long term. There was an everlasting conflict, and this conflict constantly damaged the trade routes. While the Slavic lands continually suffered from war and uncertainty, the Vikings sailed from the cold coast of Scandinavia, or experiencing their golden age. The situation became a tangle for Europe. Vikings had been showing up, pillaging and then going back. A few years later they came back, and this process repeated itself on and off. European kings could not have figured out a way to deal with this problem in the short term. Getting richer with these raids, Vikings, northern Slavs tried to resist Rurik's power and send him away from their land. However, some of them saw Vikings' power as an opportunity to solve their complicated situation. They invited Rurik to rule themselves and put an end to everlasting conflicts by using his power. Rurik accepted the call, established themselves new kingdoms and headquarters, which enabled them to maintain the raids more efficiently from their headquarters. Meantime, a Viking leader named Rurik came to the northern lands, in a word, today's Russia, where the Slavic people lived, at first, of the clan leaders, and thus the first Russian state was founded. There are different theories about the origin and the usage of the word Rus we use today. However, if we analyze it from a wide perspective, we can say that the word Rus is a general word given to the Rurik dynasty, who became Slavic in time, and some Slavic groups align with Rurik. Well, how did Rurik maintain order among the Slavic clans? What did he do that the Slavs couldn't do to take a lead in founding the first organized state on the Russian lands? First of all, we need to understand that it was not possible to establish a state developing only in civilian areas. In medieval ages, at least, it was impossible in the geography where Rurik lived. Rurik either wiped out the clans who did not follow his orders, or domineered them via thralling by using the physical strength of the Scandinavian warriors. Standing country that Vikings dreamed of found in the Slavic land, yet he did not live long enough to see his country developed. Oleg, who came after him, would made it happen. About 878, Oleg captured Kiev. Kiev was a significant city not only in terms of region, but also for the Vikings' goals in Slavic. The main idea was that it was beneficial to everyone. Thus, clans understood that they needed to pay taxes in order to make use of the opportunities and protection of the state that they are part of. With the expansion of the borders of the state, everyone would benefit from the loot and the silver that flooded into the region. That is to say, the people understood that the various achievement gained thanks to Rurik would be gained only with the long-term common interests and understanding of togetherness. In this way, Rurik laid the foundations of the major. Beside him, however, being powerful and knowing how to fight was one of the reasons why Rurik and his fellows was successful. Rurik showed different clans how to act as one. The aim of the Viking was to capture a wide area in the Slavic land from north to south and bring under control of the new units fighting in the borderline must got a leg up continually. To be able to do so, the settlements captured as bases needed to be safeguarded, suitable for trade and developed. Capturing some settlements through the warriors and clans under his command, Rurik ordered these settlements to be lands. They did not just want to stay in the north. They also wanted to come down south and be close to trade routes in the Black Sea and big cities in Byzantine Empire. They needed a base for the campaign they would operate to the south. Developed, all very well, but how could it be possible economically, being that his treasure was not strong to afford it? That is to say, he needed to get new incomes, therefore, to develop the settlements and for the care of the surrounding buildings or walls he imposed a tax on various clans, trade routes in these areas. Rurik knew well enough that a rapid dispersed raid would be useless and would not be sustainable. Therefore, he started to act in consideration of the future. Step by step, settlements ought to be captured one by one and a supply line must be formed by this.